I just feel that people who are about to lose homes or have got possible problems, discuss them mainly with the mortgage company, if there's a solution, if there's light at the end of the tunnel. But if not, make sure you know all your own work first. If your mortgage company suggests a reduced payment, is it going to be a reduced payment on a repayment mortgage? But if it becomes interest only, avoid it unless you can set a standard where you can say, yes, I'll do interest only for 2 years. Once it seems to set, then I'll go back to where I was. But if you cannot do that, the best thing to do is to look at pulling out your mortgage. It means selling your house, but it's better than having it taken from you. We tried that approach, and I think the mortgage company were quite happy, but then we found that we had a second charge on the property, and those people wouldn't back off anywhere. And even the mortgage company agreed with us that it was a senseless attitude for them to have, because we were offering them something, they decided to take nothing. So at the end of the day, we pulled the plug and we lost the house. A thing that a lot of people should also be aware of when you lose a house is what is available for you to go to. Your local authorities are not that well equipped to deal with the situation. They haven't got the properties because they were years ago encouraged to do a right to buy, which has now left the market completely short with stock. So don't rely on your local authority being able to help you. If you lose your house, the other danger you will get then is that you won't be able to get into the private sector, because your credit rating would have gone down by an awful long way. And also, no disrespect again to local authorities, some private enterprises as estate agents do not deal with councils, obviously from bad past history, we don't know. The second thing that most people should do if you lose your house is look at your total debt situation, not only your mortgage but anything else that you've accumulated. And we can all fall into a trap of using credit cards or other forms of credit. And initially, when you lose your house, the main thing that you must consider is the option of bankruptcy, because if you don't, the thing that's going to be left is if your house goes for less than what it's worth, they're going to have the right to come back and say you still owe us 20, 40,000. If you can't find money already, where are you going to find 40,000 from? If you do bankruptcy, it seems a bad ploy, but it gives you a chance to have a year where you can sort of review your situation and say, right, I know what mistakes I've made, I can now restart with local authorities. We know that people get themselves into a situation and they lose their houses, but from a personal experience it's been that the authorities have been more interested in what you bought the property for, what it was worth, and what have you done with the money. That, to my way of thinking, is my business, but I feel that the authorities' situation is to alleviate the situation as best they can. People are under an awful lot of pressure, they don't need any more grief. You're there to sort of react as best you can. But I think a lot of people will find a lot of dark corners they'll come up against, and they'll have to deal with them. But I think the government must take some of the blame for what's going on, because they've not been firm enough with all these companies. You've had little banks as such, or building societies, that through bigger players have been encouraged to do mortgages and suddenly they've collapsed. It should be the banks that should carry the can for that. It shouldn't be the man in the street that has to pay for it. But it seems as though it's like every time you get a good spell, they encourage you to do things. Go out and do this. Spend your money. But it all comes round quickly and bites. And I'm more than welcome that if people want to, either through the website, or they can come and see me, or they want to phone me up, they're more than welcome to. And the other thing I'd like to say to people is that if you've got problems of any sort whatsoever, the best place to go and get total support from is CAB, Citizens Advice Bureau. They were the ones that looked after us all the way through this, and you can't fault them at all. They don't steer you wrong.